Today we're building the Ellis Clark long platforms, and in the kit you get 2 of this length of platform. It's a no gauge platform and it's built out of MDF. We also do a secondary kit which is 2 of the ramps which fit onto the end of the platform, and again it's built out of MDF. So in the kit you will get 2 side pieces, 4 of the legs, 1 skeleton, and this is the top section. And you will notice that there are 2 holes in this top section which were the manhole covers, and this is a drainage, and each are held in with masking tape so they're easy to remove. And I would suggest that before starting any of the kit that you give it a coat of base primer paint to stop the absorption of any paint that you put on afterwards. As I explained earlier, we've taken all the grates out of this, and what I personally do is I coat them in a coat of this dark grey or any dark coloured paint, and I water it down with a little bit of water. It doesn't need to be too thick because you'll lose the definition. And then I stipple it onto the top, and you'll see that there. I'll do the grate. So that was the manhole cover. Doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to give it a bit of colouring. And we'll come back to these towards the end. Need a little bit more paint when I'll show you how to finish it. So back to the kit. And as I said, we have the top, the sides, a skeleton and the legs. They're very self-explanatory, but just in case, the top, or the the top of the legs has like a T-bar. It's the same on the side as well. And you slot these in. It's as easy as that. So what I do is I put a small amount of glue, and I'm using these glue applicator, which has gone to sleep on me, because you don't need a large amount of glue. So I just put a little bit on the join neck there on each one. So it's just a tiny little blob, and slot it in. And you do this on all 4. We're just building the one long section today. It doesn't have to be too neat, it's not seen. Now for this one is the side pipe piece, and this just slots in. So again, we put the same type, put the glue in the same position on each one. I'm just going to slide it up, and then you slide on this. Now it will take a little bit of wiggle, and you might find you need 4 pair of hands. Make sure everything's square. Then we repeat on the other side. Just popping the glue on, and now what I did also to stop it pinging out like that was to use 2 of the little model clamps to hold it. So there we are. That's how quick it is to do the base. As I say, we have the top, and it's very, very easy to do the surface. You can either do it in the stone flags, and when you paint the grey surface, you can take a pencil and just roughly draw in, either with a ruler, but you don't want it too strict. So just roughly mark, paint them in the various different greys, and you have that surface. So following on, I did the tarmac, and I used a Humbrol oil paint base paint and just paint it on. Obviously coat everything, and then I have, in fact, just put some cloth down because it's going to go everywhere. An old stocking, pop sock, and some talcum powder. Doesn't have to be expensive. And this is one I prepared earlier. And you just dab it on, or douse it, pounce it, whatever the technical term is, but you just dab it on. Leave it to dry. And you'll get this effect. Now it looks terrible at the moment, but it will grey up with the paint. Worst case scenario, you can give it another coat of paint. I didn't, and it worked out fine. And you can use it with weathering powders if you want to just give it a bit of alternative colouring. Now I did say come back to these grates, and all I did to give them a little bit of definition, instead of getting out some gunmetal paint, is just rub them over with a pencil. Just go over the top with the side of a pencil, as you can see there, in all different directions. So I'll do half, and then I'll show you the effect. So that is half of the manhole cover. I'll unstick myself, and oops, dropped it. That is half of the grate done there. So these can now go back in. As I say, you can prep like I did with the other one, and I taped off, if you noticed, the edge, because usually you paint that pale grey, white, etc. And you can do the top colouring whatever you want at this point, so you're not having to do it. Then pop your grates back in, and you can still just use the tape that they're on. There we go. So they're all back in and ready. So you can do those separately, which is a really nice idea. You don't have to start painting round. By now this should be dry enough to put on the top section. And the easiest way to do this, I've found, is to flip this over and run a bead of glue around it, she says. There we go. And then flip this onto this. So you need to line up the edges, and what I've done, if I just slide it, you can see when you get it lined up. and I'll just put a clip in there. So we put clips on both ends and it keeps it all nicely lined up. You can put weights on if you wish, just to make sure that it is sort of held down. But that is basically how quick it is to build that section. You also get in the kit the side pieces of its actual raised up brickwork to stick on. So that's the end bit, is just a glue, and again I held it on with the clips, so it's just a glue and stick on. We have then an end piece, and again you get the two pieces of brickwork which come in a flat edge and then the slope. The same with the wood piece, but it actually is scored on the back, so it will have a slight bend. And then we come to the top section, which has the same scoring as the platform. We then have an inner section which has smaller scoring, which is glued on the top. So you'll see that, you'll line that up at the top and bottom edges. And then we have a skeleton, which goes again in the middle. Once they're all glued in position, we then take the flat edge with the scoring on the inside and we glue it to the right side. And this goes, if I do it that way, it's glued against this skeleton, not on top, but against the skeleton, and it will run from the edge of this middle section to the bottom. The skeleton is built to support this side edge. When all that's glued in position, and again you might need to hold it with the clamps, you can glue on the side pieces, but it's basically the same procedure, just three sections, three sandwich pieces. So you've got the top piece, the middle piece, and a skeleton that sits in the middle. So when you've finished all your putting your pieces together, and you'll see there's the inner section and the inner section there, they will fit together, and you can have two really long platforms, two long sections and two ramps, or you can have it with ramp and a ramp and have it that way. I hope you've enjoyed building this. I've done it with the talcum powder method and sort of tarmac. I've painted along the edge in a white. It does need a bit more weathering, but that's the basis of it. I hope you enjoy building it. I think the kit is quite easy to build, even for a novice, and enjoy. And thank you for watching.